Ladies and gentlemen, we have a greatness next to me. His name is Udor. Udor been a friend and a mentor for many years. So I would say maybe for the last 5 years, maybe 6 years, I've been learning from that gentleman the traits of photography. Me being amateur and that's mature professional, been giving me free advice for so many years by the phone and never meeting me and never benefiting from this. Finally, I was able to, like half a year ago to seduce Udor to become the director of photography at the pageant that we did in February during the fashion week at the Sky Room. Since then, that was the first time when I actually met the guy. And obviously, Udor, with his charms, get every model fall in love with him. And once he opens his mouth, you'll see why. And on the background, you can see those awesome pictures that are the courtesy of Udor, and that's his work. And obviously, by those pictures, you can see how awesome and wonderful he is. Udor, why are you here today?
Well, I'm here, of course, because, as you said, you've been inviting me and literally bugging me to come by and give this interview with him. Actually, before you started to when you started to have the idea, before you did your first interview, you
Yes.
shared this information, this idea with me, and I was constantly busy. I couldn't do it, and then
You're always busy.
I am, but now finally I said, okay, today is the day that I'm going to
Thank you.
reserve just for you, because
Thank
he
you
has been
so
putting
much.
like so much work in it, and I really appreciate it. It's a really very impressive production that Mr. Great Alexander is doing right now.
If you can tell my audience, who are you? Why are you doing what you do? Is there like a way to explain like the paintings, the photography, the lifestyle? You're such a fascinating person in my life. Like, why you do what you do?
Well, as you can see by my deep sigh or inhaling, it's a long story. I mean, it really started when I was a kid, when I was 11, 12 years old. I grew up in the television community, basically, because my father was with the German television since he had ever founded. And we were, up to my teenage years, constantly moving, always with the German television, with ZDF, Zweites Deutsches Fernsehen, because we are always living on the the campus for the families who work there and so forth. My father was a photojournalist and not photojournalist, he was a journalist and a sound technician for current reporting. So when I was 11, 12 years old, I started to do photography with my father's Rolleiflex camera, the older ones that you're still seeing through. And by age 13, I knew I wanted to be a fashion photographer. Actually, fashion photographer, photojournalist is actually the better word to say. And in Germany, where I grew up, to Ukrainian and Russian parents, you have to do, when you're about 15, 16, you have to do a 2-week internship at a job, at a profession that you want to do in the future. So I did it at the ZDF at Photo Lab, right? And their photographers, photojournalists, they saw my own photography and they advised my father that I have this talent for photography on a level that either you have it or you don't, and that I must study and learn photography and work in that field. Which my father didn't like. He thought electrical engineering, that's the future. He literally said, yeah, one of my colleagues, he became a freelance photographer and he's doing okay, but electrical engineering, that's the future. So I got a degree in electrical engineering, which I hated. It took me even longer to finish because I was doing other stuff,
But you're doing hedge fund management. You've been doing the finance. You've been doing really cool stuff.
Yes, but
and you choose these artistic or penniless, comparing to the big jobs that you've been doing before life, because of the sake of art.
Yes, but it took a while. It took 20 years working on Wall Street, which later on I got a degree in electrical engineering. I studied physics and always did photography, and I always knew sooner or later I will do photography. Even when I worked on Wall Street, I knew once I'm like independently rich, then I could do photography as an art form, the way how I wanted to do it. But everything came different. My company went down the drain. I got, it's a different story. I got ripped off by a partner. I lost everything. And then I said, you know what, why don't you do what I'm supposed to do and work in what my actual calling is? And that was photography. And within less than 3 months, I was already nationally published. And that's like 16, 17 years ago now. So, and from there, basically, it was like the industry waited for me just like, to come and to start, right? So, and from Wall Street, then I lost everything. My partner went on to run. It's a different story. But then from living in a pretty expensive area in the city, I became homeless for like 2 or 3 weeks. Living at my a good friend who was also my dentist and dive partner on his floor until I was able to sell my Chevy Tahoe and then getting a new apartment and starting to build up step by step. So that's basically how I then finally did what I'm supposed to do. And nice. I have to say, from all the successes that I used to have when I was working in the financial market, all the thing, for me it was never really about the money itself. It was always just like, whoa, I really did that, and never could imagine myself like being there. Nice. And but then after I lost everything, there was this one moment which was very interesting. I was broke. I had like $5 in my pocket. It was a Sunday. I was involved now in fashion show production. And with the Champagne Fashion Brunch and Andres Aquino. And Sunday morning, I was like on Union Square, having my photo gear on my back, just about to make some money in my profession. Someone played the saxophone, some jazz, and I started to get tears in my eyes, because that realization of
who you are,
working in what is my actual calling, and being in the greatest city on the planet, following my calling, and just on the way to do a fashion show, photography, production, and making some money, even with $5 in my pocket, I had a stronger sense of bliss than I had ever in anything what I did when I was working in finance. The fulfillment was just absolutely amazing. And I actually, when you talk about...
Follow your calling, guys.
Yes, I have actually one of the paintings that we can also blend in later on, is exactly about that situation where you see like a broker, financial guy, and a street hooker actually in the same painting.
I think you showed me one.
Yes, and it's called like prostitutes, which basically means if you're working just for a paycheck and you do not work on your calling, on your passion that you really want to do in your life, and you only work for a paycheck just to get paid, and you're basically prostituting yourself. So whatever you do, find what is your passion, what you really want to do in life, and do that. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if you're making less money, if you are working in the field that is you'll be happier than ever again, or in any other situation.
Let me just stop you for a second. And since you came a little bit late, today we're shooting a dating show. And most of the interviews I took with models, how to date a model. But since I know that you're a little bit of a single guy, even though a lot of people want to be with you, what it takes to date a photographer, someone like you, you've been married, you've been around the blocks, you spend your days with the most gorgeous woman in the world, taking their pictures, and they model for you, they try to get your attention, they're on a set, they smile, they do anything you tell them, be scary, be happy, be seductive, they do exactly what you tell them and they try their best. What it takes to be next to you, what are the traits, what are people should know about dating a fashion photographer?
Well, first, Alexander, you just completely surprised me with the dating show thing, right? Because I had no idea.
Okay, that's the purpose of those questions, to get you off guard. And
that's not getting me off guard. But I tell you exactly what my situation is. When I'm on the set, let's say I can be like quite flirtatious, I can be quite dirty, like appropriate, but because of my German accent, I can sometimes say things that people with an American accent won't be able to say, because it won't come over as funny, because then it's like considered differently. So I had models being extremely flirtatious with me on set, and I'm returning the conversation style, and so we are building up this kind of trust on set, so that they really, if I'm telling them like to change a certain expression and whatnot, they need to have the trust into the photographer. And when you click on certain levels, that is otherwise you won't be able to tell a story if you have a model with an expressionless face. But the thing is this, I can be following even the sexual innuendos of a model, and we're having like fun on set. But the thing is, once it's a rap, it's actually a rap. That role that I'm playing it's over, and I'm not.
I'm sorry. Yes. The question was mostly
what it takes
for the in a dating world. Let's say someone wants to marry a photographer. What should they know about fashion photographer? If someone wants to you want to get married maybe one day again, maybe you want to what kind of person would you look to be next to you? You've seen so many beautiful ones. You might be interested maybe just a human being. You might be interested in just
human is a very important trait.
Okay, so what would catch your attention if you ever want to meet someone? To be in the old age together. They have kids together.
That's definitely a dream that I have. The problem is, in my case, I'm extremely picky, and the thing is, for me, because of working in the fashion industry, working with beautiful models and actresses, or with makeup artists, like with people who are in the industry, I'm sort of saturated with beauty, and I love beauty, and I want to be with a beautiful woman, but beauty alone does not
so you think
inspires me. It's not enough for me, because I'm surrounded by beauty.
It's important, but it's not
it is important, but I'm looking for someone who is literally, I'm also a mountain climber, I can go climbing in the winter, and she is maybe creative herself, a really good sense of humor, which is cliche, but it's true, because I have a very weird sense of humor. And
you have a great sense of humor. Every model that worked with you and every photographer, they all love you. I've seen you in work, and you get comfortable them at any level.
Yeah. So there's a certain cool quality that I'm looking for, and that's hard to say. I mean, when I say cool quality, self-sustained. I need a woman that is also independent. I don't want to have a woman that is dependent on me for income or anything else, because I had relationships like this, and it's not good, because I want a woman being so independent and so strong that she can say, listen, if I don't like you anymore, I'm gone. Not that she is in this economic bind, say that, well, if I'm leaving him, then I don't have anywhere else to go, so I rather stay with him. So I think it's a much more honest relationship when the woman is strong, independent, educated. Educated woman is quite important for me, or at least very smart, because I can't do with someone who doesn't have their own opinion, doesn't have their own thoughts.
Maybe let me rephrase my question.
Yeah.
Like me and my wife, for example, she let me shoot with the models. She let me go on those trips in production, and she trusts me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for me to have her trust.
Right.
And so what I look in, the way I look into this, it's real dependency. I cannot live without her. She is the mother of my children. She very much controls my life. But if she would tell me tomorrow, you're no longer doing fashion photography or any photography, throw your camera out, I would do that. If I had to choose between her and my kids and the whatever the hobby I have, I would choose. But for me, this is the primary part of my life. How do you get someone like you truly in love with your fashion photography life? What it takes to meet someone who will conquer your heart, that you would say something like what I feel truly.
I think I know. I see what you mean. I am a visual artist.
Yes.
I'm a photographer. I'm a surrealist painter.
Yes.
And
yes, you are.
That is me. So
that's not necessarily that person will ask you to quit being a painter.
I'm playing now on what you were saying. If a woman comes into my life and she forces me to change my personality, who I am, because she might be too jealous or anything like this, we're
talking about forcing. We're talking about once, let's say you have your kids, right? You're willing to sell. And we're back with Udor. We're talking about what it takes to get Udor heart. It's a part of our dating questions, like how to date a model, how to date a photographer, how to date an artist. Many of our artists, especially in New York, are single, and there is a real reason behind this. And the psychology and the psychology and all those traits suggest that it's not easy to have a couple of artistic soulmates together. Udor happened to have a unique ability. Even with his ex, he is in good friends, and they go to movies together. So right now, my concern is that that great man needs to be, in my mind, with someone equally great, or at least someone who makes him happy and he makes happy that person. So I'm just trying to figure out what are the traits of that person should be, and how do we find it? Her.
Yeah, I have been out of the dating scene for a really long time, and I have been looking for a very long time. Always, of course, I'm a romantic at heart. I mean, I'm passionate. I'm a photographer. I'm a visual artist. So for me, having a woman in my life that fulfills me, challenges me, is and does all the things that I'm interested in, has an open mind, maybe even like a European type of open mind, because that's what I have.
Are you saying Americans are not open-minded? Like you don't think you're gonna get American girl?
Well, I'm absolutely for American girls too, as long as they have an European style open mind.
Okay, yeah. What's the difference?
Right. Well, that would be probably.
What's so different about European girls? Why are they so successful in modeling?
It's not about the success in modeling. It's about in terms of relationship. I cannot have anybody who's close-minded. I cannot have any woman that is a racist. I can't. I have hard times to imagine I could be with a person who voted for the current administration, right? Just because it's.
By the way, guys, when we had our show and I had this model with the "Make America Great Again," the whole audience shut up, and we had some people left, and that was the message that Udor gave to me. We had to do even the a quick video explaining.
He did an apology video explaining that he is not part of that. That crowd, he wanted to provoke.
That was right after the election, the trades were a bit high. I think we still, even if I would do it today, that would provoke some people. But at that time, that was really tight.
Yeah. And nobody really understood the context that you're trying to deliver.
The parody was difficult. Okay, we're wrapping up. Stay tuned. Hopefully, if you like listening the thoughts by Udor, we'll invite him again and again. And we'll get some more insight in Udor's life.
And the next time you're going to explain what is the hidden
agenda
behind it.
Then we lose the surprise element.
That is true.
In my show, usually we have the Mr. Great, as I told you, it's a personality. We have some chauvinistic thoughts, and he's like kind of something in between of Trump and Borat and Mr. Wonderful. So I try to use this element of surprise because someone like you could be surprised, really. You've been through so much, so I think I can throw at you any questions and you can dodge that easily. So I don't think you're that easily surprised. You can take it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.